Whoa, dude, it's the 80s. Hi.
I don't think it takes place in the 80s.
Pretty sure it does.
No.
It's me, your Ikasai boy. I was in the present, and I'm 26 and a loser. And then I get sent to a fantasy world, and now I'm in the 80s.
I'm pretty sure it takes place in like 2005.
Well, I'm Annie.
And I'm Minty.
And this is FunUntitled, where we serve every podcast with an F you. And fucking guess what anime takes place in the 80s?
Doesn't take place in the 80s, but it is about time traveling back to 2005.
How's that possible?
Wait, how's that possible? This series is super new.
What year do they take place?
I think it's currently like the present is 2017 and he goes back 12 years to 2005.
Oh my goodness. Are you telling me he goes back to the year Shrek was made?
I have no idea what year that is.
But yeah, we're talking about Tokyo Revenger, the cringy at first Ikasai series.
I only knew 3 things before watching this series through like little memes. 1, obviously it's about Yakuza. 2, people like the time traveling aspect, which when you only knew about Yakuza, you're like, what the fuck? And 3, nobody likes the protagonist. And I can see why now.
The only thing I knew about this series was that someone on Twitter I followed was in love with Kazutora. They made a whole OC to be Kazutora's non-binary term for girlfriend. And I was like, partner, yeah. How old? Partner? And I read all the intricate lore and I thought, what nice OCs. And then I found out Kazutora was from an anime and I was like, alright, I gotta check this out. You know, it's so hard when you follow a really good artist and they say, cringe is dead. I may be cringe, but I am free.
Sounds like denial. You know, like when a ghost doesn't realize they're dead?
I mean, in, you know, like all reality, like self-shipping, that's not what I'm looking for.
Self-insert?
Self-insert shipping. I mean, like, it's not hurting anyone. I just don't want to be, like, your friend.
I mean, it's a little cringy, but like, again, like you said, nothing wrong, technically.
Like, you can do it. Like, you're just not invited.
Anyways, so the summary of Tokyo Revengers, real quick, is you're following the protagonist, Takemichi. He is this 26-year-old virgin loser who can barely keep a job at a video rental store, and he's like, shit, my life sucks.
It hits too close to home.
Shut up.
Same age.
Yeah. And then he sees in the news that his middle school girlfriend has died due to some gang-related incident. And I'm like, and you give a fuck why? And then he's like, oh man, my life's really shitty now. And I'm like, why? And some asshole pushes him off a train.
You know,
station.
He worked at the Japan equivalent of Blockbusters. They were doing him a favor at this point.
I wonder if Japan still does video rentals.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, for a long time, they always had those flip phones.
I don't know. Japan's kind of innovative. You know, like, things go in cycles. Like how Samsung's bringing that back.
You know, like, how will they watch the Godzilla movies?
Sure. But instead of being pushed into the train and dying, he goes back 12 years to 2005.
He was in 5th grade. Wait, no.
No, you were in 5th grade.
Right, and I live in 2020. Insert year here.
Stop kidding.
Damn it. I mean, okay, this is not a lie. I have one merch that belongs to me, that's Tokyo Revenger, and it's a fucking Takemichi doll. Yeah, I got a little box of, like, I could have gotten Baji as a doll. You'll meet Baji later in the series, and I got fucking Takemichi, because I have terrible luck with gachapons.
Blind boxes.
Japanese words.
And so, being transported to 2005, he's a middle schooler, and I guess his middle school dream was to be a yakuza.
A gangstar.
That sounds familiar.
Part 5 JoJo.
Oh. And then he realized that sucked.
Well, not that he realized that sucks. He got his ass beaten.
And then that's what inspired him to kind of live like the, I guess, quote-unquote loser life, right?
Yeah, because he basically became a bitch boy for like the next few years. And then as soon as he graduated, I think either middle school or high school, he just bailed and started going job to job because I don't think this boy has parents.
I think middle school. I think in Japan, high school is not mandatory.
Nice, Sue.
Kind of. Okay.
Do middle schoolers watch High School Musical and get confused?
I watched High School Musical as a middle schooler and I was confused.
Yeah, but in Japan will be like, why all this drama? Just go into the workforce.
Basically, let's finish the summary out. Takemichi has the ability to travel back 12 years into the past, and he's gonna use that power to save his girlfriend.
Alright, first we're gonna say why this series is good and why we would recommend it, and then we'll get into spoiler territory.
I'm pretty sure everyone has already said why this series is good. I'm pretty sure it's the anime of the year for 2021.
Is it the anime of the year?
I think so.
All I know is that Record of Ragnarok is like the worst anime of the year.
I can can see that. I believe it.
No, you know what? It might be Promised Neverland season 2. We gotta watch that.
You gotta watch that.
I cannot believe Tokyo Revenge. The only reason why I say Tokyo Revenger I have a hard time believing is number one is because as an anime, the story is great, but you can read the manga for that. So you have to really look at the animation, right, for the anime. And it kind of sucks.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I guess for me, it's hard because I judge it on like the action scenes, the parts where it gets really animated.
Oh, but this series isn't necessarily about the action. I mean, it's clearly there, but that's not really why you're watching. It's really for the drama and for like the character growth and like the mystery of it.
I mean, yeah, because like the whole mystery is they're trying to figure out why the leader of Toman like goes from a middle school punk gang to like a hardcore delinquent, and we're like, what the fuck? How did he get corrupted? Where's his corruption arc? And I get the mystery being like all that great, but like I said, I think I read some of the manga. I don't know why I was going to say most, but the art is just so much better in the manga.
A lot of series are.
I'll say a few that, you know.
But I think when you talk about anime of the year, you're not comparing it with the manga. You're just looking specifically at the anime.
I think a good comparison IMO is like comparing Tokyo Revenger to FMA. Like there's some action scenes, but mostly it's about like the drama, right?
Right.
And I feel like FMA just did the pacing a little better than Tokyo Revengers.
Sure.
Because God, Takemichi's annoying in the beginning. And it's slow in the beginning.
You can't get me on the FMA train. You can't compare FMA to anything. FMA is like perfect. It's a perfect series.
I'm sorry, I would compare it to another 2021 anime, but I don't remember what came out in 2021.
I know, we don't really watch things as they come out, and we just watch them when we feel like it. Dr. Stone came out, right?
Oh.
Or was that 2020?
I think that's 2020.
We were late on that one, too.
Tokyo Revengers is great. I will not knock it for that. It's just the pacing and the animation's not the best.
And I don't know if this is a little nitpicky, but I don't know if it does time traveling as good as people say. I still think it's weird that he doesn't really have access to like the other memories, because it's like, then how do you function? How does the you that comes back when you go back to the future and your present self is back to the, or the past self is back to the past self? How do they even function?
Oh, I don't
Like they lose like months of memories and experience, and they have these new relationships. How do they keep carrying that on?
Okay, yeah, that irritates the shit out of me because, like, what you said is true. Is like, oh, he's with his girlfriend 1 second, then he goes back to the present, and then his past self starts freaking out because he has no idea what's going on. So he like just bails on the girlfriend.
Right, so it's like, I mean, it's not part of the story, so we can let that slide. Because again, this series is about how to change these important moments in the past to affect the future, even though there are like so many variables that they can't even think about, and they have to try fix every variable. It's like kind of how futile it kind of feels.
You know what's a good description, Tokyo Revengers? 50% of it is great. 50% of it, you have to just wait it out. Because like all of Takemichi's friends, right, from his previous gang, I want to say, they're nothing. I don't really get them. But then he joins like Toman, Tokyo Manji group, and then all those people are really cool.
Yeah. I don't know, 50-50 is a little harsh. There's payoff.
There's payoff. That's why like there's some animes like there's no payoff. So like you don't have to wait here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into like the arcs, right?
So now it's going to be spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first arc is the Toman arc, which kind of went over the first episode, right? Goes back to the past, and he's just like, man, this sucks. I'm getting my ass kicked by this gang. And not only did his ex-girlfriend die, but the ex-girlfriend's brother also died. So when he sees the little brother, he's like, hey, your sister's gonna die on this day. Remember it. Please save her. And comes back to the present.
Because when he told the little brother, it became a time paradox. So every time he touches the little brother can send him back to the present.
And the little brother becomes a detective, and it's like,
He got buff. No, I'm just kidding. He must have trained.
He's a detective, and now he goes to Takemichi and is like, dude, you came back to the time, which is all speculation, but he is right. You have the power to travel back in time. You have the power to save my sister Hinata. And let me tell you, Hinata is so goddamn annoying. Not the most obvious reasons.
Okay, the problem with Takemichi and Hina is that they're the main characters, so you can't make them too out there because you cannot risk people hating them. You can risk people not liking them, but you can't risk people hating them. So Hina is just a blandest waifu who's like, I'll forgive anything you do. I understand all your pain.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure she breaks up with him because he leaves, right?
In the original timeline, she breaks up with him and not really sad, but probably because he was just a bitch boy. And then later on, Takemichi will fix that timeline, and we'll talk about that later.
So Takemichi's first mission is to get close to the two leaders of the Toman Manji group, which is either Mikey or Kiseki. So he's like, okay. And I feel like Takemichi goes in a lot without any information.
Which is weird because there was a scene where Naruto was like, you better memorize all of this. And then like Takemichi didn't use any of that information.
Dude's stupid as hell. It was pretty clear from the get-go though that he is stupid.
Stupid. Like, okay, like how many times in this series where he's like, oh shit, I'm in the present, things change change, I want to call Nato, but I don't have his phone number. Like, bitch, memorize it.
No. The kid's a Gen Z. He ain't gonna remember no phone numbers.
To be fair, you don't remember your number.
Dude.
What? It's okay, I don't remember my social security number.
Don't out me. And don't out. Well, I guess nobody's stealing shit from you. So Takemichi, he goes back in the past and he's back in the same shitty situation he was in the first episode, which basically as a middle schooler, he became a slave to a guy named Kiyomasa, he's part of the Toman group, right?
Yes, he's a very lower echelon.
Yeah, and he's in like, what, Fight Club?
Yeah. I mean, did you watch Fight Club?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because we can say it's Fight Club in ignorance then. So he starts a Fight Club making like losers fight each other. They get like a anemic boy to go fight, and in the original timeline, Akun, he's like, I'm gonna stab someone now. When this timeline, Takemichi's like, no, I'll take anemic boy's place and I'll get my ass beat. And then that gets the attention of his future boyfriend, Mikey.
And Draken.
I don't know why so many people have English names. It's the Tokyo Manji group.
I think it is considered cool to have an English name.
You know
or like English, whatever.
You know what Mikey's real name is?
I did look it up. I never wrote it down because they never say his real name. I mean, he has one.
His mama gave him one.
Yeah.
So like I said, Mikey's gonna become Takemichi's boyfriend in the future, so he's like, hey, you beating up my future potential boyfriend?
I don't see that shit, but apparently Annie said that we'll see a lot more in the arc after the anime.
I cannot stand Mikey in the manga, but so I love seeing him in the anime.
Okay, interesting take.
Interesting hot takes. Like, who's your favorite character, Tokyo Revengers?
Baji.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was Draken, so I thought it was gonna be a good segue.
I do really like Draken. I like Baji. I like
Come on.
Mitsuya.
Yeah, he was next to you. He's always next to you.
Chifu is okay. Mikey's okay.
Man, when you said Chifu was 13, I was like, oh no, I found him hot.
That is one thing I wanted to talk about. This series about a bunch of middle schoolers and the shit that they end up doing. A lot of like murder. The R word, because I don't think we can say that one very loosely as goosey as we do with murder. Word. You know what I mean? Stealing, right? Like, it just kind of takes me out of it to know that they're all middle schoolers. Like, I know this series is probably for middle schooler, high schooler age group, but I'm like, this series would make a lot more sense if they were college students.
It's teaching our Japanese youth that they too can do murder.
What is up with Japan? Like, this series makes me worry for Japan's youth if this is what's going on.
Watching this series makes me realize that our youth in Japan don't need guns. They are hardcore knife-wielding bastards.
Or whatever they can carry in their 13 to 14-year-old hands. Right? Like, it takes you out of it.
Tiny hands.
Like high school, okay.
That just made me think babies can't start gangs because the tiny hands can't grab big enough weapons, and that's the only thing stopping them.
When their hands can fit in those baseball glove mitts, ooh, they ain't gonna be baseball players. Smacking people with bats with a different thing.
Do you think you need the baseball glove mitt to grab the baseball bat?
No, but I'm just saying if your hand's big enough for a mitt, for a glove, your hand's big enough for a bat, and your hand's big enough to whack people.
Right.
Like, what's that anime called? Paranormal?
Oh god, Paranoid Agent, yeah. So Takemichi meets Mikey and Draken. IMO, the coolest characters so far compared to all the other losers.
Hold on. Does this scene make sense of Maki and Draken not liking Kiyomasa for having a fighting ring? Like, it never made sense to me.
I mean, the whole reason Mikey wanted to start this gang was because, like, all the current delinquents was dragging the name of delinquency through the mud and making it all, like, bad and evil, and he wanted to make, like, cool delinquents. The kind that his older brother used to have. So why have a fight ring, you know?
What are cool delinquents?
You know, people on the motorcycles going boom, boom, boom.
And, like, starting fights, right? Because he clearly has no problem fighting.
Well, like, he always asks people, like, hey, you guys willing to fight? You know, these people are bastards, and the whole Tomon's like, yeah.
I guess so, but it is a little weird to have it this early, because it didn't make sense, because, like, Yakuza, there's an image of it, right?
I think another thing is, cool delinquents don't fight the weak, right?
Sure.
So it really was this Kiyomasa wailing on this guy and saying, get me a baseball bat. Like, that's not
Baseball
cool.
bat.
Baseball bat. But yeah, that's not cool. That's why you gotta beat him down. Now, remember Kiyomasa. He's gonna be a Mickey Mouse Cthulhu we're gonna use later.
A Chekhov's gun. Wait, what?
What?
What did you say?
I did the TikTok cool version of Mickey Mouse Cthulhu.
Is that a TikTok trend?
Yeah, I don't know why it's really popular on TikTok.
We have ears, say cheers?
Yeah!
Okay, so Takemichi, he kind of gets close with Mikey and Draken. Mikey kind of has a crush on Takemichi. Clearly, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's weird. And Takemichi's like, cool, I guess I'll report back and go back to the present.
He's a stupid idiot who just like grabbed the brother during a fireworks show. So he had no reason to go back.
Right, like, oh, I guess he also wanted to tell Naoto that, like, Mikey's cool, man.
There is no way he would have ordered a truck to drive into your sister, man. He's cool.
We gotta find this other dude because Mikey's cool and I just met him.
And Naruto's like, oh shit, your friend Akun is it now in Tokyo Manji before he was arrested because he stabbed a fool.
That's the other weird thing. Naoto kind of remembers what happened before, right?
Yeah. We don't know when Naruto gets his memory refreshed with the current timeline. It's kind of confusing. The time traveling really sucks in Tokyo Revengers, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, because the only one that kind of made sense of it was Future Trunks, right? Not counting Super.
Not counting Super.
But I think Future Trunks made sense, but like other series who does time traveling, it gets weird. Well, again, this is all nitpicking because with a concept like time traveling, you can technically do whatever you want.
Here's something that's not nitpicking. They go to Akun, and Akun has his own hostess club, and he's like, hey, Takemichi, come outside, but a Nike isn't. Takemichi goes outside. Akun, you're a time traveler, right? Because I totally pushed you on a train track. And
that's right, yeah.
And Takemichi's like, what? And Akun comes like, yep, I pushed you into the time stream, now I'm gonna kill myself. And it's like, hey, I know we're gonna figure this out later, but there better be a good explanation of how Akun turned Takemichi into a time traveler.
Do we get to figure out later?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't read all the mangas, I just read like the one arc after the anime.
It's probably just a time anomaly. But why does Akun kill himself? That doesn't make any sense.
Because he doesn't want to be a criminal, but he's too scared of Kisaki. By the way, y'all, there's a lot of hype around Kisaki, and he's not that impressive.
Dude, spoilers.
I mean, just compare what you know with the anime.
Well, I mean, I assume the payoff comes after the anime.
Something that doesn't make sense is that he's a white nerdy boy, and then he gets like bleached hair and a tan.
Don't know a lot of these characters. I mean, anyone who's blonde, that's not their real hair.
You could be blonde.
There's always those one white hair kids, and I'm like, how is it white? Is it dyed? Are you just stressed? Is it just premature aging?
You know, in Japan, fun fact, old people dye their hair purple because when their hair gets old, it gets a yellow hue. So you dye it purple so it looks really young. So I think Japan just has different prejudice against hair dye, certain hair dye. So I feel like silver, you can get away a lot.
There was that trend in high school, middle school time where people were dyeing their hair silver, like old color hair, and it was a weird trend. Too bad it didn't last it because it did look cool. But I'll let it slide because there's some parallelism later. We'll get into that later. And I guess Takemichi learns from Akun that the Tokyo Manji group at one point split into the Mikey and Draken faction, and it's like, shit, what do we do there? Maybe that's why. Does he know Draken dies at this point?
Yeah, I think he does. Because if Toman never splitted, Draken would have never died.
Yeah, and Takemichi knows how close Mikey is to Draken, so for Draken to die, Takemichi believes pushed Mikey off the ledge. Which I'm okay, so Mikey's not that good of a dude, right? We're gonna stake the love of our life on this dude you just met.
I mean, okay, in a future scene that we will get to later, it really is Takemichi just being like, oh, I have to do everything in my power so this 15-year-old boy does not murder someone.
God, every time you remind me of middle school or early high school, it just rolls me off.
Think about it like Naruto. He probably killed someone.
That also kind of throws me off now.
I mean, it's a whole meme, right? Oh, back then it was cool, and then when you're older, you're like, you let a 13-year-old girl do what?
I mean, I guess anime, it's Japan, it's Asian. They got different standards for their people. When you're 13, you gotta do way more things.
It's kind of like Shinji in Neon Genesis, right? Back then, it was like, you're a push, Shinji. And then you watch it when you're older, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty fucked up.
God, Neon Genesis is pretty good, especially when you're older.
And with that, we will end part 1 for Tokyo Revengers. And next time you meet us, we'll be in the 90s.
No, god damn it. What's wrong with you?
And we'll go over the Mobius arc and the Valhalla. And you finally know who this Baji motherfucker we keep mentioning. Can I swear?
No.